Evening, people. If you watch my earlier videos today, you will know that I was at the Westminster Magistrates Court to hear the verdict in Tommy Robinson's terrorism charges case, and he was found not guilty, which anyone who heard the evidence knows was absolutely the right result. But despite having got the right result, two big issues remain really, which need to be answered and need to be answered by the establishment. Firstly, cost. So the costs involved on Tommy's side are in the region of £100,000. They were very kindly paid by Elon Musk on this occasion, but he has been dragged through the courts many times, to the point where his legal costs now are well over £1 million for all the various cases. And many would argue, well, those cases have been brought about by himself. But in at least 2 or 3 occasions, he's been found not guilty or the charges have been thrown out. But those costs still mount up. So is there not an argument to say, is there not a case to be brought that actually in cases like this, where the police and the police evidence and the establishment and the authorities' evidence is shown to be completely at fault, is shown to be wrong, in this case was shown to be frankly ludicrous, that they should bear the costs? Surely if the state had to bear some of the costs when a certain threshold of stupidity of charges is met, then that might prevent the police, might prevent the Crown Prosecution Service, and might prevent the authorities generally bringing arbitrary, unnecessary, and frankly just nasty cases against people. This case was brought purely and simply because of who he was. It was a direct punishment beating of a financial kind. They may not even have actually been that bothered about whether they got guilty or not. They just knew it was going to run up even more costs. Surely that needs to be addressed. You can't keep bringing the same man to court and running up millions of pounds worth of legal bills. Some you win, some you lose. But in whether you win or lose, the cost still has to be met. That can't be right. That system can't be right, particularly not when you get legal aid being thrown around in the mega millions of pounds to people that clearly don't deserve it. Human rights law is an absolute Brucey bonus in terms of money earning for human rights lawyers. And who pays for that? 99% of the time is the state that pays for it. So every single asylum seeker that has their case heard in a courtroom, legal aid. The men that were accused or are alleged to have committed these horrific crimes over the course of the last week going to get legal aid. We are paying for it. You and me are paying for it. And yet in this particular case, where the charges were proven to be frankly ridiculous, the state doesn't pay. Is that right? And then let's move on to the second point concerning this case. So the BBC 3 weeks ago, and not just the BBC, but all of the mainstream media, portrayed this case in a very specific way. They banged on at length about the terrorism charges. They banged on at length about the fact that Tommy, or Stephen, was driving a flash motor, in this case a Bentley. They banged on about the fact that he had thousands of pounds in his possession. But the reality is that he was allowed to drive that car because he had insurance on it and he had permission to drive it. He was carrying that cash legally because if he hadn't been, the police would have confiscated it or would have nicked him for money laundering or some other thing, which they didn't. But that was all the media focused on. They completely ignored the actual facts of the case. They completely denied that the police had done anything wrong. They completely denied that they were in the wrong in terms of stopping him in the first place, and particularly in terms of bringing him to court under terrorism Section 7 charges. They completely ignored that, didn't write about it at all, didn't mention it at all, wasn't given any news coverage whatsoever. Yet it turns out, if you go and read the judge's statement and judgment, in the end, the verdict, that there was no evidence, that the police were completely in the wrong, that the only reason he was stopped was because of who he was. But the mainstream media, even now, I guarantee you, when they put this in the news tonight or tomorrow, they're not going to go into any detail on it. Why is that? Well, look at what's happened to the BBC just in the last 24 hours. The BBC have basically been absolutely caught lying, fabricating news articles, fabricating TV programmes, fabricating the entire programme of Panorama regarding Donald Trump. They've been caught with their hands in the cookie jar. They've been caught doing it. So why should we believe anything they say anymore? Why should you believe the mainstream media? Why should you believe what BBC or ITV or Sky or Channel 4 or any of those stations tell you? The answer is you shouldn't. Open your mind, do your own investigation, do your own digging, listen to multiple sources, including citizen journalists. I'm not saying I've got all the answers. By all means, don't listen to me, but listen to lots and lots and lots of people and form your own opinions. The new media is where you will find the truth. You're not going to find it in the legacy media.